pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lord God and Father, in your presence at this evening's council meeting, we pray for your wisdom and insight. We pray, Lord, that you bless our nation, our state, our town, and surrounding areas, that we may all prosper. And we do thank you, Lord, in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Okay, proceed with the roll call.
Mayor Madrid,
Present.
Vice Mayor Gonzalez,
Excused.
Councilmember Medina,
Present.
Councilmember Moak,
Here.
Councilmember Ryman,
Here.
Councilmember Sash,
Excused.
Councilmember Stewart.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay. We'll move on to item 4, consent agenda. All items listed below are considered consent calendar items and may be approved by a single motion unless removed at the request of a council member or further discussion and action. Other items on the agenda may be added to the consent calendar and approved by a single motion. Okay, item 4A is consideration and possible action to approve the council minutes of April 22nd, special meeting, and April 27th, 2026, budget work session, and a regular meeting. Item 4B, consideration and possible action to approve the town of Miami payroll for April 26, 2026, the amount of $78,904.54.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
call for a motion to accept consent agenda items 4A and B as written.
Second. Okay, Councilman Stewart moved to approve. Councilman Ryman seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed nay. The ayes have it. Item 5A, committee reports and general demands. Consideration and possible action to approve the general demands for April 17th, 2026 through April 30th, 2026 in the amount of $150,531.75.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to motion to accept item 5 and 5A as written.
Okay. Councilman Stewart moved to accept. Councilman Ryman seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed nay. The ayes have it. Thank you. Item Reports and recognitions, item 6A, town manager reports, town updates. All yours, Alexis.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I want to be brief because I want to provide and allow to the Chief of Police space for the report. They want some information they want to present to the Mayor and Council and community members. Very briefly, we are engaging in a conversation with the Freeport, establishing a contract to buy the reclaimed water, the sewer system, as a revenue for the town of Miami. We are in the details of that contract. We received some recommendation from the director of the Public Works. We're going to pass those to the lawyer for final approval and send them to them. Continue this opportunity to bring revenue to the town of Miami. We talked to the assistant at the governor's office regarding to the matching fund, the 25%. And we received a very encouraging communication today. We're going to be continuing the conversation tomorrow and see what that opportunity can happen soon in order to facilitate the 25% matching fund for the EWP project that is very important for the safety of our community. Again, I'm going to pass now to the Chief of Police, and he wants to bring some information and update for the department.
Mayor and Council. Quick updates for the police department. Our AC for the back room, it's the AC for the back room. It's already mounted and it's working fine. So we do have AC in the back. We do have AC in the back now. We're still getting quotes on the electrical panel, just like the town manager mentioned it. We also got news today that probably by the end of the week we'll be able to get registration for the 2 new vehicles that we have. So hopefully by the end of the week we'll be able to drive those vehicles. Another update, we're in the process of hiring a police sergeant, so we're moving forward with that. We're in the final stages, so hopefully within the next couple of weeks we'll have a sergeant as well here to help out with the community. I think that's all I have. So far we're moving forward. Things are starting to get done. Like I said, the AC now it's a great help. Now that the summer is here, we'll be able to get some rest at nighttime. So I want to thank you guys and thank you public who pressure and put the emphasis on getting the AC for the police department. I appreciate that. That's all I have.
Thank you. That's good news so far. Item 6B, current events. Only one that I want to speak to right now. We've got a lot on our agenda, so just want to remind all of the people at the council that we're having our advisory committee meeting every third Wednesday. So there's one coming up here pretty soon. You're all welcome to attend. It's open to the public. Do we have a time for that meeting to kick off? Fixed time?
I think they meet at 10 a.m.
Okay, it's still 10.
Is that what time they were meeting? Yeah, that's their time then, 10 a.m.
Okay. 10 a.m. For a start on that meeting. I would encourage all of you to participate. With that, send it over to item 6B to Councilman Medina?
Thank you, Mayor. I also have an extensive report, so I'll try to summarize it. As a matter of fact, if there's any news media, I'd be glad to hand this over to you. But anyway, I brought up the subject of Rey, Sonora, Arizona. As a child, I had the opportunity to visit with some people there along with my parents. And anyway, I followed my parents. Anyway, Rey and Sonora were like Globe and Miami. And like Globe, Miami, there's a lot of extensive mining opportunity underneath this town. What a lot of people don't understand is that we have, let me get a picture of that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, appreciate that. There's a protester out there, folks. He wants me to stop. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, David wants to get a picture too.
It'll look nice in the paper.
Mayor,
Mayor,
you need to go to the order. Those
Yes,
kind
I'm
of,
going to. We have to, not use any kind of signs that are disrupting.
What's the ARS? What's the ARS?
The ARS allows signs, but the towns and cities can make their own decisions.
No, they can't.
Yes, they can. I read it, Richard. I know exactly what I'm talking about.
The
And
ARS,
you can't use those signs that disrupt this meeting. Now, please put them down.
the ARS takes precedent.
Please put them down. Thank you.
You're wasting taxpayer money.
if I was an honored person, I'd read the whole thing for you, just for you.
Go ahead, waste the taxpayer money.
You're not gonna call my direction.
Go ahead, go
You don't
ahead.
control me.
Go ahead.
Gordon, Gordon, you're the Gordon.
Hey,
I'm joking.
Mayor.
If you know me, I joke around a lot. If you can't handle the jokes, I'm sorry.
Please, let us act with decorum. Let's move on.
Okay, thank you. Anyway, back to Sonora. I was telling you that underneath the town of Miami, just about every square inch, there's mine shafts. It's hard to believe. If Councilman Vice Mayor Sammy Gonzalez was here, he would attest to that. There used to be a model at the library that showed what it looks like underneath the town of Miami. And I mean, from this hill to the next one, it's just a labyrinth of mine shafts, but they backfilled. And if you check into it, you'll find that occasionally one of those shafts will appear. We've had, I think it was Canyon Avenue maybe. We had one appear there, could have swallowed a car. But anyway, that's something else. But because of that, the present day open pit is there now in the area of Rey, Sonora. The reason for that is my report in that portion is because I want to give you a little bit of background as to why we're where we're at right now. Okay? As a matter of fact, there used to be another town there that I just found out about called Barcelona. Okay, jumping to my opinion. Okay. Legend has it that Globe Miami were destined to follow the footsteps of Rey, Sonora. In the early to mid 1960s, it was widely believed that open pit mining would eventually expand into the town area of Miami. New technology in the form of leaching processes slowed the plans down a bit. Unfortunately, the mindset remained, and the town of Miami's future was set. For the town was to be moved eastwardly piece by piece. Downtown Medical Center, Valley National Bank, grade schools, high school, which by the way, the high school isn't in Miami, it's in Gila County. So if you graduated in the 70s, you graduated in Gila County, not Miami. All forms of entertainment like theaters, there was a hardware store here, auto parts store, lumber yard, as well as clothing and general stores, just to mention a few. The town had a YMCA, which was the heart of the community, as well as many social clubs and watering holes that we had. Now, the question is, doesn't one find it interesting or coincidence that there is or was a project on the table to bypass Globe and Miami via Cherry Flats and the foothills of the Pinal Mountains? Notably, through the years, there has been a good amount of attention to Highway 60 through Miami to secure that part of the future. Meaning that, I don't know how many of you people were aware that for many years there was plans to put a bypass of Miami on Cherry Flats and bypass Globe also, starting up at the top of the world. And I find it a coincidence that right now it's a highway that has been the hindrance to the copper companies in the past, keeping them from wanting to mine this town. But if they could move this highway up on the hill, now they're wide open. But I had good connections up there at the mine. I talked to management and they laughed at me. Back in the 70s, I brought this subject up. And they said, where did you hear that? And I said, well, that's a mindset in Miami. Everybody's moving out of town. They said, we have no inclination of mining Miami. The cost is prohibitive. But we are moving to the northwest, which we did until we ran out of room. And that's that part of the history. Okay, I'm trying to summarize all this. I find it very interesting. I had a group of Dirt the Mines that we discussed all kinds of strange Monclova history. A lot of people here don't understand the meaning of prejudice. Prejudice doesn't mean that you hate something. It means that you favor something over something else. So, quite naturally, the Mexicans in the area favored the Mexican community. Hence, there's so many Mexicans in Miami, along with Serbian and Croatian, same thing, and some Italian. Good friend of mine, Kent Hill, walking history book of Globe, tells me that Globe G used to be Cousin Jack Hill, English. And I forget the other hills, but every hill was a racial diversified hill. Italian, English and Irish. But what struck me was a lot of people don't realize that the Spaniards and the Mexicans at that time didn't get along or didn't care for their cultures. So hence there was a Barcelona over there in Rey Sonora, and in Globe there was a Spanish hill. And Reese Canyon was a well-known Mexican community in Globe. But anyway, that's when I found out that similar to that, in Rey, that town was built mostly for the Irish and the English, Anglo-Saxon Irish. And Sonora leaned toward Mexicans. And I found out lately that Barcelona was for the Spaniards and Spanish-speaking people, mostly like from South America. Okay? So I wasn't going to throw that part in until somebody was challenging me. Sorry, Gary.
Okay, Councilman Vogt?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. A week ago Friday, we got a request from Capstone to go on a tour of the mine. I went on it Friday, and also Sarah from Simply Sarah was there. Linda, that writes for the Globe Miami newspaper, was also there. We had a real good tour of the mine. I hadn't been there. I worked on the property 10 years when it was BHP. I hadn't been back, so since 1995, 30 years ago. And the pit has grown a lot bigger. And we had a good lunch, and Sarah and Linda were pretty good sports about it. I couldn't believe I was standing in all that dust and noise and not getting paid for it. But it was a great tour that we took. Also on the agenda, I wanted to thank Karen for putting that on. We're gonna move the public speaking before the council agenda items. And we didn't have time to get these on this week, but the next meeting, we will vote on having to fill out requests to speak in public speaking. If you don't fill it out, you don't get to speak. And that's about all I got.
Okay, thank you. Item 7, call to the public pursuant to Arizona Revised Statutes 38-431.01. At this time, members of the public may address the town council on any issue within council's jurisdiction that is not on the agenda. There is a 3-minute limit for each speaker. The council response is limited to responding to criticism after all, asking all the people to come up, talk to the public. After that, that's when the council can talk. Asking staff to review a matter commended upon, or asking that a matter be put on future agenda. Council members are not permitted to discuss or take legal action on a matter raised during the call to the public. Anybody out there want to go?
Mayor, council, I'm appalled that the council allowed one of their own to waste the taxpayer monies on a subject that has nothing to do with the town, brings no value to the town, and makes the town, as that gentleman says, the Miami Town, the Clown Council. This will be published in the paper as an F, because you guys allowed this taxpayer money to be wasted on a subject that has nothing to do with the town and brings no value. I'm ashamed of you all for allowing that to happen.
Anybody else? No? Okay, moving on. Item 8, unfinished business. 8A, information, discussion, and possible action, consideration, and possible approval to amend the order of business on the council agenda by moving item 7, call to the public, to item 6, and renumbering item 6, reports recognitions to item 7. And Mo?
Yeah, we definitely need to revise some of our public speaking. I wanted to move the public speaking ahead of our council reports. And also, we're going to revise our public speaking to where you have to sign in and do it that way. A little more organization could be used in our meetings, a lot less bickering, a lot more control by the council. And that's all I have to say.
The council, any comments, guys?
I always have a comment, you know me.
But
I understand the move because of a lot of derogatory remarks that are coming toward us and more like attacks. My question is to our attorney. Let's say like today's incident, and we were to, I could respond when it came to call to the council after he had his remarks first. Can I respond?
So those are two different things. Is this on? Okay. So those are two different things. The open meeting law allows council to respond to criticism at the call of the public, but that response to the criticism has to be at the end of the call of the public after everybody has spoken, and then an individual council member can address the criticism if there was criticism raised during the call of the public. The council comments are supposed to be council comments regardless of what was talked about during the call of the public. You can't get into a situation where you're addressing something that was raised at the call of the public in your council comments, because now you're addressing something that was not on the agenda, and you're talking about it. And that's what you're not supposed to do, other than addressing the criticism. So with regard to the order of business, the order of business is established in the town code. It's section 2.04.090, order of business. And so if the council wants to move the call of the public to the beginning of the meeting, to the end of the meeting, if you want to move the call of the public to a different spot in the order of business, we have to do that by way of ordinance, because we have to amend the code to make that change, because for some reason we have the order of business in the code. That's typically not normal. Usually that's in a council policy, not something that's set forth in code. But that's what would be required if council wants to make that change, is then I would have to bring back an ordinance for council to consider amending the code to change the order of the council meeting.
Okay, Joe. If it's at the beginning and a comment is made, excuse me. My hearing aids are answering the phone. Somebody makes anybody makes any kind of concern, report, criticism, whatever. It's said in the beginning, and then when our turn comes up, we can't respond to what they say. I want to make that clear.
You can only respond to criticism, and only at the end of the call to public.
Right. I want to make that clear.
So if I could also, I'll address what the statute says with regard to the call to public. A public body may make an open call to the public during a public meeting, subject to reasonable time, place, and manner restrictions, to allow individuals to address the public body on any issue within the jurisdiction of the public body. Is that better?
Yes.
At the conclusion of an open call to the public, individual members of the public body may respond to criticism made by those who have addressed the public body, may ask staff to review a matter, or may ask that a matter be put on a future agenda. However, members of the public body shall not discuss or take legal action on matters raised during an open call to public unless the matters are properly noticed for discussion and legal action. So it doesn't matter where on the agenda the call to public is. The council cannot discuss matters that are raised during the call to public, with the limited exception of addressing criticism, directing that staff review a matter, or asking that a matter be put on a future agenda. Those are the three limited things that council can do regardless of the location or the order of the call to public on the agenda.
I was wondering if that was the way it was gonna happen. Why flip it if it's not gonna make any difference in the response? And the ARS that I read said that if the councilman wants to respond to a criticism, they have to do it with brief statement.
That's not in the ARS.
It is, I read it.
I'm sorry, Mayor, it's not. You may have read something
I'll
from
bet
the
you $100.
ombudsman. It's not in the ARS. I just read that section I just read is the entirety of what the ARS provides for on a call to public.
I was reading it too, but we'll
So
handle
you
it.
may have been reading the AG's handbook or the ombudsman's handbook, and those are best practices recommendations, but not statutory requirements.
Okay, I'll read it again.
So, and then I also have here the Ombudsman's Handbook on Open Meeting Law. It says an open call to public is an agenda item that allows the public to address the public body, the council, on topics of concern within the public body's jurisdiction, so within the council's jurisdiction. So you can limit the discussion to only those items that are within the council's jurisdiction, meaning that you don't have to listen to personal complaints, you don't have to listen to federal issues, only things that are within your jurisdiction. And does not, although the open meeting law permits the public to attend public meetings, it does not require public participation in the public body's discussion and deliberations, and does not require a public body to include an open call to the public on the agenda. All that the law requires and allows for is that the public are permitted to attend, listen, and record public meetings. There's no requirement in the statute that anybody from the public is allowed to speak during a meeting. And there's no requirement in the statute that the council has to have a call to the public. It is permitted, but it is not required. And if you permit it, then you are allowed to have your reasonable time, place, and manner restrictions with regard to those items that can be addressed during the call to the public.
Okay. Like I said, the way I interpret all this on AA, there's no need to vote to flip it.
That's a council decision, but I would prefer if council would like to take a vote, that you vote to direct me to bring a code amendment back to council to change the order, and then what order you want that change to be made, if that's what council wants.
You want me to read it? A.
Well, I know what the agenda says. If that's what you want, it needs to be done in a motion.
Right.
Move to direct the town attorney to bring the code amendment back to council, to reorder the order of business and place call the public before council comments.
Okay, we'll do it that way. Information, discussion, and possible action, consideration, and possible approval to amend an order of business of the council agenda by moving item 7, call to the public, item number 6, renumbering number 6, reports recognition to item number 7.
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah.
before a vote, a comment if I may.
But
If the council wants to consider moving this, why not move it just prior to adjournment? Therefore, council business can flow in an organized and consistent manner. if we have guests in the audience, they could get through their presentations on a bit more of a timely basis. And it still gives the public ample time to come up and have their 3 minutes at the podium.
Well, the reason that, correct me if I'm wrong, Councilman, but the reason we were wanting to flip it was so that the council could have more opportunity to respond to the people that were talking on item 7.
But we can't. Even if it's prior to adjournment, if there's criticism, then we still have that opportunity. We're just later in the overall agenda.
I thought I heard our lawyer say that we can't do that.
You can respond to criticism, yes.
Yeah, we can respond to criticism.
Yes.
But my point was we can respond to criticism if it's number 7 or if it's number 10.
I said it doesn't matter to me.
Okay.
Wherever you guys want it to.
I'd rather do it right away. Plus, the public can leave a lot sooner if they need to.
I feel they should suffer along with us till the very end.
Anybody want a motion on this? I'm waiting.
He didn't make a, he just read the agenda item, he didn't make a formal motion.
You never made a motion.
I can tell you, that there are many reasons for having it early, many reasons for having it late. It's a council decision.
I just think it makes us more organized.
So just looking at this agenda item, I know this agenda has been set for a while, and how it's scheduled has been working previously, and I just don't understand why we want to have any kind of changes to how it's going. I just believe that,
Thank you, Sammy.
there hasn't been an issue prior, and it's been scheduled for, I can't tell you how many years how it's been set up. And like I said, we can't respond to any kind of questions other than criticism. So, I mean, either way, if you move it or you don't move it, it's still going to be the same. So why move it?
Mayor, I have a comment. If you look at on Zoom, on any other meetings like Flagstaff, Vogue, they get it over with right away, public speaking. And we kind of drag it out. It's kind of lopsided, we're on the wrong side of public speaking sometimes. I think it could be a little more organized this week.
Well,
Flagstaff's Zoom meeting comes on at 2 a.m. on Sunday evening, or Monday morning, whichever one you want to look at.
I tend to agree with Councilman Gonzalez. This has been working. I see no reason to change it. It's not going to make any difference. In terms of what you were looking for. It's still going to be limited as it would be in the ARS.
Some direction, Joe? Some direction? We're dead in water? Looks like.
Well, I can tell you, Miami's unique in that it has the call to public in the middle of the meeting. Most municipalities either have it at the beginning or at the end. So typically you have it either at the beginning or the end. You guys have it in the middle, which is fine. Again, it's a council decision. You can't respond to items that are addressed during the call to public. So that tends to bode for having it at the beginning, allowing people to come in and have their say, so they don't have to sit through a meeting. But then there's also the viewpoint, as Councilmember Medina mentioned, that if you're going to address council, do it at the end of the meeting so that the council can get through the regular order of business without delaying the council's business because of call to public. You can have situations where you could have, 10 people who want to come up and say something during the call to public, and if you allow 30 or 3 minutes per person, that's a half hour that takes into the meeting that then delays those presentations or those agenda items. So there are municipalities that do it at the end of the meeting because they don't want to delay and impact the regular order of business. They still want to allow the call to public and still have people come and address the council, but they require it at the end of the meeting. So again, there's reasons for doing it, so many different. I can tell you that according to the code, this section was adopted by ordinance 257 back in 1997. 1997.
Mayor, may I make a comment in council? May I make a comment? Or
Can't hear you without.
How about
microphone?
Councilman Sash's mic? That might work.
Alexis?
It's working.
Thank you, Mr. Rivera. My name is Noreen Prater,
Alexis?
and I just want to make a comment that Vice Mayor Gonzalez, our former mayor, listens to the public. I feel that most of us that have come to these council meetings, our voices should be heard as well. So thank you, Councilman, Vice Mayor Medina. I feel like all of you should take into consideration that each and every one of us that's present at this meeting have come up to the podium because we care about our town. There's many, many good comments, some not so good. But like Vice Mayor Gonzalez stated, it's been fine. And that's how most of us feel. Thank you.
That's why we vote.
I'm not going to get any motion from you guys. I'll give one. I want a motion to not approve this.
It just dies a natural death.
Let's move on. That's what I want to hear. Thank you. Item 9, new business. 9A. Steve Garcia, welcome.
Thank you. We can move on to, if you guys want us to. Mayor, Council, thank you for having us out this evening. It's long overdue. I've been promising Vice Mayor Gonzalez that we were going to come out for some time, so I know that he was running in here just because he didn't want to miss our presentation. But Karen, do we have the PowerPoint I sent you?
John, don't you about that? I sent you something.
What we're going to do here this evening is we're going to walk through you where the project was and where the project is currently, and then we'll answer any questions that you might have regarding the status of the project moving forward. With me is our project manager. His name is Prince Tomasi, and Prince is going to walk you through the photographs. I know most of you, all of you probably in the room, know what the original building looked like, but we'll show you the progress that it's made so far. So I'll turn it over to Prince at this time.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I'm excited to give you guys this update today. As Fidela said, you guys have seen this building, what it looked like before, but it's really great to see it in context. I mean, I was even amazed. You know, I'm out here every once in a while and I see pictures all the time, but comparing the before and where we are today it's just amazing to see what we can get done in just a couple months. So, as you can see right there, I'm sure you guys have, you know, color or black and white in front of you. On the screen, I'll speak specifically to what I'm seeing in front of me. That is the school as it was when we started. Of course, you can see the fence up for when we started construction. Can we go to the next one? Thank you very much. And what you saw before was building 1. This, you can see building 2 just behind the crane. Here we're getting ready to thing. Fidela's just corrected me, not building 2, cafeteria. Better name. So you can see the cafeteria from this angle, and of course you can see the crane and the machine getting ready to start construction. Next one, please. And that is right when we completed the demo of the cafeteria, and you can just see how much space we're working with at this point. You can still see the building in the front, the original, you know, building 1 over there, which is the part that we're rehabbing, so that one stayed. Next. Thank you so much. Here, just wanted to show you a picture of inside as we're starting to do the work. We're drilling into the concrete, starting to lay some pipe work in there, and you can see on the walls we actually blasted off some of the previous material that was on the wall, just in order to make sure we're keeping up to date and making sure everybody's safe for living here, getting rid of all the asbestos. Next one, please. And here's some of the exciting ones I threw in here as well, you know, some of the pictures from during the process. So this isn't today just yet, but this is a couple months back where you can start seeing some of the progress this building, this project really coming to life. That building in the back that you can see is starting to get wood framed is the new building that was erected where the cafeteria used to be. And you can see the old rehab building in the front starting to get some body to it with some scaffolding up on the side. You can tell that a lot of work is getting done at this point. Next one. And here is closer to where we are today as we move forward through these pictures. The building looks, you know, amazing. You know, we're really bringing this thing back to life. Next one. And here you got the kind of, I call it kind of the corridor, the breezeway between the two buildings. You can see now the scaffolding has moved from building 1, which is over on the left, or the school is a better word for that one, thank you. The school, you can see that the scaffolding has moved from the school now to the building number 2 where the cafeteria used to be, and that really shows a lot of progress. You know, building 1, the exterior is getting pretty much close to completion. And building 2, we're starting to encapsulate that outside. Next one, please. And just another view, this is from Keegan. You can see the scaffolding from that area. Just to note, APS has been a great partner in this, really working with us to make sure everybody's safe, make sure the workers aren't, you know, within a certain amount of feet of the pole to where they might be in danger. So it's been great getting to work with them a little bit. Next, please. Thank you. And here is where we are today. You can see where you used to see in the hallways. You know, the floor opened up with the pipes in the ground, and the walls in the corridor being a little bit more rough because we just took off the coat of paint that had the asbestos on it. We actually framed everything out so it looks nice and beautiful, very modern on the inside. You can see that the floor is starting to get finished before we start laying down the carpet and whatnot. You can even see the stairs. They're on the image on the right. It's looking as if it's a brand new building, and it's amazing. Next one, please.
I think that's all.
That's it. Awesome. There's plenty of pictures that we can share. These are just a few. We'd love to send you guys a couple more at your guys' request. What else? Anywhere?
That's a good question.
Which ones are the front? Handicap accessible.
You want me to put it on?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's probably
go
easier.
ahead. Working on the fly.
The only thing I wanted to mention are the buildings are 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms, units that are within the buildings. There are handicap accessible units as well. There's a fitness gym, and then there will be a part-time property management company on site as well. We really want to thank Josh and Alexis. Josh has just been tremendous throughout the whole project to make sure that we stay on schedule. And so at this point, we're hoping that the project is complete by the first week of November. And so we typically start leasing, as you know, there's 40 units between both buildings. We anticipate that the units hopefully will rent up pretty quickly. I've already had some people that have contacted me saying that they're interested. We will start pre-leasing the units 3 weeks before the project is finished and complete. I'll make sure, Mr. Mayor and council members, that I get the information to Karen so you can put on your Facebook pages, and then also I'll leave some flyers and other things here at the at Town Hall in case people are interested. We can give them the leasing information and then the requirements. These are affordable units. Are those 40, 50, and 60?
We can get that to them.
I can't recall, but they're either 40, 50, or 60% of the average median income. These are not Section 8 or extremely low housing units. These are affordable. They're typically meant for workforce housing, those individuals that don't qualify for subsidized housing, and those individuals that are just priced out of market rate. So we try to target the individuals that are in the middle with regards to their eligibility for the units. So it is a nice project. What I'm hoping to do, I wish we could show you the progress on site right now, but the general contractor, because of the liabilities, other than our employees and their employees, they don't allow anyone on the site right now. There will be security on the site. There will be security cameras on site, and it's pretty extensive, the system, so that way if we unfortunately have any incidents, the chief and other members can go back and look at the videos and put all of that information together. Hopefully it would help them in the investigation or anything else that they may have. But the project is moving along nicely because we wanted to have where I'm trying to figure out the logistics to have an open house so members of the public can come and see, because we know there's so much history at the school and that so many people have either grown up at the school, attended the school, so they can see what it looked like before and what it looks like now. I just have to work on the logistics so that I can open up a day, and what I'm thinking is probably having people sign up before, because I can probably only take 20 or 30 people at a time, sign up at different time frames, and then we can move individuals before that. We obviously will have the mayor and council, not because they're special, but because they're VIPs, to come out, and then we'd like to invite the school board as well. That way you can see what the project's gonna look like in the end. But it is turning out to be a very, very nice project. The tiles, Josh has been good at making sure that we tile match as much as we can. The exterior, the stucco, we've tried to keep everything as original as we can. So, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I do. If you're gonna be finished up, what looks like November, it must be your peak manpower at this point?
Yes, in fact, we are at our peak for drywall, for the lathing, and for the framing. I believe the framers are almost done.
Yeah, we're moving quick.
Yeah, I believe that the framers are almost done. The drywall for the original school, it's what, 75%?
The drywall.
the drywall.
I'd say about that, yeah.
Yeah, we're about 75% complete in the drywall for the original school. The 3-bedroom units in the original school are going to be gorgeous because they had those old big classrooms, and they're very nice units because of just the original size of the classrooms and the views because of the windows in the original school. I mean, and the air, maybe I'll move up here. I'm talking myself into it over here. But it is going to be a nice product when we're done. Did you have a question, Councilman?
Yes. Do you have an estimated number of total family numbers, heads?
We don't have, I can get those to you, but it depends on the unit size.
Yeah.
I believe for 1 unit apartments, you can allow,
We'd have to send them.
we would have to send them because it varies on the size of the units. Because there's a density requirement
Sure.
pursuant to the HUD requirements and the funding that we receive. There's certain density that the apartments can only hold.
The reason I ask is that hopefully our residents, some of our residents here in the town in Lobayama will apply, but also even if Globe applies to come over here, and we have some outside individuals come here, hopefully that'll increase our population, which means revenue for us.
That brings up a good point, because a lot of people ask this. We cannot lease or rent only to Miami residents because it's considered discriminatory. That's why I want to get the information out as soon as we start pre-leasing and as soon as possible. So if residents want to get in, they can get right on the list.
Sure.
We're anticipating that the units may rent fairly quickly, but you all know better than I do. I don't know what the demand would be.
The revenue I'm talking about is from the government. At one time, Florence, talking to the mayor and vice mayor down there, they were very happy because they counted the inmates at the prison, part of their head count, which meant revenue. Lots of money coming into Florence. The last time I talked to them at the state capitol, they were upset because they took away that program from them. The inmates didn't count anymore at that time. But here, if we increase our population, the government would be looking at increasing our revenue. You'd have to talk to Alexis about that and find out how much of an increase and all that.
That does bring up another good point, just so you know. During the leasing application, it's the same as if you're applying for any other apartment. So there are criminal background checks, credit checks, everything. But again, because they're affordable units, there are different variations and limitations, but I guess there are some limitations, but there's also different variables that are looked at for the units.
Just last week, I saw these 2 flatbeds full of material, lumber, and it looked like drywall. Was that part of this project, or were they passing through?
I can't tell, Mr. Medina. I wouldn't be able to tell you, or Councilman Medina. I wouldn't be able. I'd have to ask our project manager. Yeah, I'd have to ask our project manager about that.
So you guys are just about done with the framing and all that?
Yes.
One building?
The frame, both, I believe.
Both?
I believe the framing on both buildings. As you saw by the pictures, the lathing on the exterior is already. Josh, do you know how far along we are with the framing?
Yeah, the framing is complete. We just finished the rough-in inspection for building 2.
Yeah, so the framing is complete. So.
And my last question, a concern that caused that school to close down was access for everybody. Easy access for handicap?
The accessible units, yes, are at ground level. They're at ground level, and requirements with all of the codes, accessibility, all of those types of things. The apartments will be gated so that only individuals that live in the apartments They will have to come through the gates to get in and out of the apartments. We're badging these, aren't we? Yes, we're also badging the, what do we call it, the fobs?
Yeah, it's just a fob.
It's just a fob to get in and out of the building. Again, that will monitor who's coming in and out at what times, so.
And on that breezeway, do you have any plans for anything in there, recreational, picnic tables, anything?
In the breezeways, go ahead, please.
Yeah, if you're talking about what I refer to as the breezeway in between the two buildings, yes, we actually will have an outdoor, playground over there, not directly in the breezeway, but a little bit outside of it, more closer to the ramp. But directly in the breezeway, there'll be a nice sitting area, there'll be a grill, that'll be great space for people to mix and mingle, in the community.
Great. Thank you.
That's all we have.
Thank you.
Okay, item 9B, information, discussion, and possible action, discussion, and possible appointment of Sarah Way to a one-year term on the Design Review Board as recommended by the Design Review Board. Karen?
Mayor and Council, at the last design review board meeting, they did have one vacancy that needed to be filled, and the board met, and they wanted to bring to council appointment of Sarah Way to that vacancy. And that was just a one-year term, that vacancy.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to motion for approval of 9B as written.
Second.
All right. Councilman Stewart moved to approve. Councilman Ryman seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed nay. The ayes have it. 9C, information, discussion, and possible action. Consideration and possible action to increase fines, penalties, and put up warning signage of hefty fines for speeders. Councilman Stewart, Medina.
Mayor, what you and I forgot to report on was our meeting today at the town council. I don't know if we're gonna say anything later. But anyway, ADOT had a sort of a meeting, which is hopefully at the beginning of more meetings to come. They were asking for our concerns, and I mentioned to them that one major concern I've had for the longest time, which would be being brought up tonight on this agenda item, is the fact that we have no real control over the speeders going through not just Miami, but all the way to Globe. What frustrates me is that at one time, if I caught somebody doing that and I was very uncomfortable with the speeding, reckless driving, or whatever, I would call directly to our dispatch office, which I knew the dispatchers, and we'd have a conversation and they'd contact whoever needed to be contacted. Also, Globe had the same program. I would call Globe and same results. So you really can't do that anymore. So now I'm concerned about how can we control the speeders, because especially here in Miami, with the two stop lines so close together, and they're not really synced. They asked me if they were synced where you can hit the green lights all the way across. And from what I see, there's cameras up there that control the traffic. If there's traffic crossing Highway 60, it'll stop the traffic. So you might get a green light and immediately get a red light. And that frustrates a lot of people. So a lot of people that are aware of that will speed trying to make the other light. And many times, and I saw it many times, they're not going to make the light. They not only run the yellow going into red, but they flat run red light and keep on going at a high rate of speed. So I brought this up to some law enforcement people, and they said maybe you can do something with the fines. Well, sometime later, while traveling down in the valley, and I brought this up to ADOT,
if you recall, at one time, they had issues with the corridor as you're coming into the freeway, just before you hit the 202 entrance. That corridor was a high fine area, and they flat let you know what your fine was going to be and how there was zero tolerance. Eventually, they got over whatever issue they had, and they're no longer. But I also noticed that on the HOV lane, same story. It's $200 fine if you're caught on that HOV lane when you're not supposed to be there. And with those things in mind and talking to this officer, he says, well, see if possibly you can see about increasing your fines where we could put a bike to our system, ticket system. I've seen where a lot of these people don't really care, they don't mind taking that chance. They get stopped. But maybe, and I'm just saying maybe, if it's possible to raise the fine, and if we do, if you put that signage to warn people that, hey, you're risking it if you're speeding through our town, maybe we can get them to slow down. Also, I asked, well, we're on the subject of the signal lights, if they could do a study. They did a study back in roughly 2006, and they come up with the fact that back then they wanted to eliminate all the signal lights. And I mean, the whole town came down on me. I was a mayor at the time. And I mean, there was all kinds of signs, like my friend over there had. And yeah, they were ready to hang us, me and ADOT project director. But anyway, a project, some research was done, and I told that story to the ADOT people there in Globe, and they took down some notes, which looks like they're going to be looking into that. And they have my contact information, and we'll probably be getting back with an answer. I'm pretty sure I know what the local answer is going to be. So the reason I say that is because I wanted to see having cameras put up there and catch those red light runners. Well, they let me know that you can't do that on a public highway. Streets like in downtown Phoenix, you can do that. But I don't know about freeways, but anyway, major highways, state highways, you can't do things like that. So that's why I'm concerned about, could we raise the fine? But anyway, roughly that's what I had.
Joe, do you know of any laws that say we have a cap on certain fines?
Your fines still have to be within Arizona jurisdictional limits. I would have to look to see what you would be looking at trying to increase them to. You can't have exorbitant speeding fines in one section of town and not all sections of town. Type thing. You can have special enforcement. You can have zero, it can be a highly enforced detail. The other issue that you run into is that this is a state highway, so you're limited on what signs you can put out there. You can try to encourage people. I mean, one of the things that I tried to help the town do is I donated a speed trailer to the town to be able to use, to be able to put out there to show people speeds. Those have an impact and help reduce speeding. So it would just depend on what those special assessments may be. Most speeding penalties in Arizona law, or most speeding penalties, fines are set by state law, court schedules, different things. So you can have municipal schedules that apply specifically to municipal court, but wouldn't necessarily apply to if it went in the justice court or different things like that.
If I can throw in a little bit of history, if it's all right. Back in the day, I don't know if the old timers remember, this used to be a 25 per hour mile limit. And the town at that time took advantage of it. Zero tolerance, the police were constantly stopping people here, and we had a bad reputation around the state. We even made the news a couple of times. But we also had a magistrate at the time, a judge, and just as a piece through different times. The town was bringing in quite a bit of revenue with that speed trap. And we weren't very popular about that. But anyway, I just thought I'd throw that in about that history. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Chuck Broder, 525 West Sullivan. First, even with the noise level signs, I got up here and I said then that unless you enforce the law, it does no good. The trailer with the speed limit sign, Globe put those out. It's a joke. I watch me going the speed limit, and I watch all these other signs. They're going 15, 20 miles faster than the speed limit. And the sign shows it, it doesn't mean anything to them. Okay? My comment is, unless the law is enforced, it does no good. But at the same time, to say when the law is enforced, we've also had, I wish Judge Reardon was here so he can clarify what he means, but he has said that it's more costly to enforce the law, as I've understood it, than because the charges that would be going to the county. The other thing is, if you put signs up, don't mean anything to me. When I broke the lockdown in Wilcox, I just went to driver's school. It was a lot cheaper for me to go to driver's school than to pay for the ticket. And I got my points off the insurance. So, you know, it's a long, complicated situation, but absolutely, I completely agree there needs to be something done. Twice, I've nearly been hit, once by a semi when I was turning left out of Miami. It's only because I now stop, wait, and make sure everybody can stop before I turn, because there's no respect for the lights or the speed in Miami. Thank you.
Thank you.
If I can add to what he said, talking to police officers here, and I had a lot of friends in their National Guard, Highway Patrol and the like, I would take my complaints to them about the freeways and the like. And they said that these drivers are awfully smart. They know where you're at as an officer, patrol car. They slow down, and then they speed up again. So you can try as hard as you want, and maybe you'll get lucky once in a while. What I found is it seems to be working for them in the valley are these sports car, unmarked cars. I mean, you would never expect them to be police. And also some motorcycles that don't look like police motorcycles. They look like dirt bikes. So that's working for them over there. I don't know what would work here though. I just thought I'd throw that in. Thank you.
Well, let's just table this until we get some feedback. Did you have something to add?
I just got a comment to make. So, it is budget time coming up, and, you know, there's always a possibility, as council members, that we try to fund some money to the police department where we can hire an additional police officer, and their sole job description would be strictly working 60 to slow down the speeders. So, you know, that's something that as council members that we have the choice if we want to throw money in that direction to the police department for an additional officer possibly. And like I said, they just work strictly 60. So I'm just throwing that out there as council members with the budget coming up. that's something that we need to probably look at, to go some more in there to possibly hiring another officer if it's available, if we don't. So just a comment.
Mayor, with that information, go ahead. Go ahead, Frank.
It's very noisy at this end. This is not even, actionable item, the way it says. But I was talking to the judge, the magistrate that does this, with us about this traffic situation. He said, well, you know, your fine schedule should be different than you have. You can identify different components. So what happens is we issue a ticket, they go to court, they pay the ticket, they send us the money, and then they send us the bill from the county, which equals or sometimes is more than what we got. Meanwhile, our officers may have to be available to substantiate that ticket should it be contested. So we have to figure out a way to get more revenue that we keep, rather than just more revenue. And apparently there are ways to do it. What's really needed, and Sam is suggesting this, and kind of another aspect of it is to get something in the budget, bring in somebody who can study the entire problem of enforcement, of signpostage, of fines, and how they're handled, and see what we can do to improve the situation, improve public safety, improve our police coverage and cops recovery in that regard. So I don't know if tabling this is the right thing to do. This really doesn't specify any action, it just says we got a problem. But I would suggest, as Sammy did, that we consider this in the budget and perhaps even an opportunity for some grants to define that area. Perhaps maybe good.
Some clarification, we have the vehicle already, we have a Ghost vehicle. We're already ahead of that, the vehicle is still not active on the 16th, but we have the vehicle. We received a donation from our lawyer for the speed limit that is going to be in service this week. They're going to be testing it and everything. And follow the Vice Mayor recommendation. One of the elements is to bring an officer, train that officer in heavy equipment. DPS have a special unit dedicated to heavy equipment, velocity, tow, the speed limit and the tow capacity. You can establish that as a city, as a town, you can establish that fund for the heavy equipment. But we have already the resources for establishing a police unit on the 60. We're already ahead of that part. Like Councilman Ryman established, one of the situations is the amount of money from the 100% of the fine is deviated to the county, and we receive probably at 3%, sometimes less than that. We need to make that study in order to be more aggressive on the 60.
Mayor, item 9C, information, discussion, and possible action. Consideration of possible action to increase the fines and penalties and put up warning signage of hefty fines for speeders. I'd like to make a motion, we table this until we get further information.
I'll second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Move on to 9D. Information, discussion, and possible action, consideration, and possible approval of the revised and updated economic development director job description. Alexis.
Mayor and Council, I want to recommend to table this item. The reason is to provide more time to Mayor and Council to review the document that you have in front of you. All the modifications are in yellow. And I prefer to receive either via text, visit my office, or email recommendation about position in conversation.
Mayor, if I may, unless somebody wants to make a motion to table it.
Second?
Motion to table item. Seconded.
Second.
We're tabling it. Is that what we're doing?
That's the
Motion
motion.
to vote on.
Before we move forward, we got a couple of questions. The last meeting, we talked about looking at this and maybe instead of having an economic development director and giving that person some amount of grant responsibility, it would be best if we look at what our neighbors are doing around Arizona. They have a full-time grant guru doing nothing but working on grants all year long and doing a heck of a job of bringing a lot of them to bear. So, has done very successfully. And I think doing that, you have somebody that's just dedicated to grants. That person is going to get enough grants coming our way to more than cover that cost. So then if we just let the economic development director focus on economic development, we'd be better off.
Mayor, Council, one of the situations on that, what you're proposing is that revenue stream from where we're gonna bring that revenue in order to pay for that position. First, need to be created, identify the revenue, identify the salary, and all the benefits for that position, plus be approved and have the revenue in all those elements. At this point, I think that's the best avenue. That's the reason I was recommending to table it and go to further conversations regarding to the position, what was the recommendation of the yellow areas, and see what we can bring for the next meeting.
Alexis, if we're talking, the mayor's talking about having a grant writer specifically for this, and you're saying we have to have revenue for that. Most grant writers, they get a percentage of the grants that they receive, and so they get paid that way. And so if we have somebody that's writing grants and we receive these grants, it'll probably pay for itself. But if they're not receiving the grants, then we maybe have to reevaluate and see what we need to move forward with, continue having it or not, if we're not successful in that position. But I do know that most of the grant writers do get a percentage of what they get in the grants.
Yeah, Vice Mayor, that's correct. They receive, but at the beginning, let's say the first 6 months, 7 months, and we don't know how successful can be those grants. And the percentage, depending on the grant, it is federal, it is a government, it's a state or private, depending on the percentage they allow on the administration side. Administration side is the money that they allow to use to repay that grant writer. But sometimes, for example, the grants that we have right now, they don't have administration costs. For example, USDA, NRCS, they absorb that 23% of the administration costs. USDA is taking, it's about $100,000 of the administration costs. And then it's like gambling on that area. Can be done, yes. But at the same time, we need to have some funding available to pay that salary at the beginning of that. 80%, 75%.
Economic Development Director, Assistant Town Manager, combination there. You're looking at 6-digit salaries for everything that I've kind of glanced at here. It's gonna, to cover everything you put it in your, on this job description, we're gonna have to pay a pretty healthy 6-digit number. In my opinion. Because the kind of people you're asking for, I think, in today's market, especially down here in the valley with everything going crazy, they're gonna have a lot of options. So if we're gonna find one to meet this qualification, gonna have to pay. I really believe if we have it's like Councilman Gonzalez was saying, if we have somebody getting their salary by a percentage of what grants they get for us, makes a lot of sense to give it a try. Then just hire an economic development director and focus on that, because that's a full-time, non-stop position for people to do. Go ahead.
The other question that I had, probably might have to come before council, is if it's going to be an assistant town manager, does that mean that because it's working with the town manager, is it going to be a role that reports to council, being that it's a town manager, or assistant to the town manager, or is it going to be working as staff? So as council, we have to make that call too. Is that assistant manager going to be working for, council? Because it has that title that's in it. So that's something for council to kind of consider when it comes back up again.
Any other comments, Council? No motion at all.
There was a motion.
Mayor, there was a motion and a second to table the item.
Yes.
I made the motion, Councilman Stewart made the second. All we need is a vote.
Somebody call for a motion here?
Yes, Mayor and Council, there was a motion and a second to table it. For that reason, to have a conversation, any concerns can be direct to the office.
Say that again, Alexis.
The reason of the motion for tabling is to allow the mayor and council to evaluate and send any kind of concern or action direct to my office.
Okay. Councilman Medina, motion to table it, and Councilman Stewart. Can't hear. Second it, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed nay. The ayes have it.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
All right, 9D. Information, discussion, and possible action, consideration, never mind, sorry, I jumped on one. 9E. Information, discussion, and possible action, progress report, council discussion and possible action regarding HVAC for the police department. I wanted to keep that in there, and I intend to keep it here for the next several meetings to be sure we get updated on progress. Today was a good example of the kind of heat we're going to start getting And I was happy to hear that we've got at least that part of the police station with some cooling going on. But we also need to put a target on when we're going to finish this, get it all completed. And we've got to have a date. I think when you and I were talking, Alexis, that we get it all done by the middle of June. You still on that number?
Mayor and council, yes, we continue that target. We received the confirmation for Guardian. We anticipated to receive the specific date tomorrow. But yes, like the report that I present, with the support of the public work director, he's working on the quotes on the electrical. He's supposed to have it done later than Friday, and we sent it and approval and started up construction simultaneous, like you recommended, with the mechanical contractor.
When will you have the pricing on the mechanical?
Friday.
That's the electrical.
Yeah, the electrical, we anticipate by Friday to have the quotes.
Electric.
Yeah.
What about mechanical?
Mechanical, we wait, but tomorrow we're supposed to receive the date for the quotes and to visit the walking through of the system of the department, for the department to identify the areas and they can see that where it's going to be the installation of the panels and all that information that we're going to receive from the electrical. Because that's the key, receive the information from the electrical contractor.
Any comments? Okay, go on down to 9F. Information discussion, only status updates on the facade program. Where are we on that?
Mayor and Council, I request the application to start reviewing it, and because I still not received it yet. I hope by this week we receive all the application and start working and present it to the town, to the Mayor and Council to determine how much money is going to be dispersed for those projects.
Sorry, what was the date?
No, I don't have any date. This week, we anticipate to receive all the applications. It's in the front office, and then from there, I think, indicate the funding that was requested and presented to the Mayor and Council.
Okay.
So we should have received several applications, did we not? So they're in process. Cool.
All right. Next one is executive session. We're going to adjourn to executive session here. 9G, executive session, is executive session pursuant to ARS 3338-431.03 for discussions or consultations for legal advice with the town attorney regarding town attorney communications in reference to procedures for abating code. That's all about the bright light, I should say. Part of our strategic plan is we need to get some documents into our committee to get moving on that. We got to meet with councilman.
Mr. Mayor,
Motion here to move to executive session.
I'd like to make that motion, please.
Okay. Second. Councilman Stewart, motion to executive session, and Councilman Medina, seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. We'll be back.
What are we looking for?
news article? There's pictures in this. If you want to, I'll email you the pictures if you want.
Is it alright if I take you guys over there at 1:30?
Hey, you ignored me at the store.
I did not, I waved to you.
Never at the store.
No, I waved to you when I was crossing the road, I went like that.
Window was the one that did for you.
Oh, you did that, no.
I really don't remember.
I remember where you.